Hey everybody, it's Mitch, and welcome to my next video. Today, we've got another Dungeons & Dragons 3.5 Prestige class for you. And today, we are going to be looking at the Complete Arcane, and we're going to be looking at the Wild Mage. There he is. Alright, so what we're going to be talking about today is we're going to be talking about what is a Wild Mage. We're talking about what it takes to become a Wild Mage. We're going to talk about what you get as a Wild Mage. And finally, we're going to talk about how good the Wild Mage is and how you might use it in a build. So let's get started. So first off, what is the Wild Mage? Well, it's an arcane caster that believes that magic is a very raw, wild form of nature, and that other arcane casters have just used formulas to try and control it and keep it in check. Whereas the Wild Mage is like, you know what? Forget that. Let's just let this magic happen. Let's let it go free. Let's not control the magic. Let's let it go wild and have some fun with it. So that's kind of what they are. They believe in chaos and the chaotic powers of magic. And that's really what they are. It's quite an interesting prestige class, really. So let's talk about how you get in. So first off, to qualify, any chaotic. It's not too crazy. I mean, they do focus on chaos, so it makes sense. Skills, knowledge of planes, 4 ranks. Okay, knowledge spellcraft, 8 ranks. Use magic device, 4 ranks. It's not too bad. Feats, magical aptitude, and any magic feat. All right, that's not bad at all. That any meta magic feat isn't a huge issue at all. You're probably going to want one of those anyways. And arcane caster level first. So you really only need 1 level in an arcane casting class to actually get in. Heck, you can, and since it's first, you can even do this with warlock if you want, which is an interesting way to see that. But it does work with warlock. Yeah, at least I think it does. It does require a meta magic feat, so maybe not. But because I'm not sure if warlocks can use those. But yeah, that's kind of cool. All right, so let's. That's all it takes to get in. Let's talk about what you get. So first off, D4 hit dice, not great. Bad base attack bonus, not great. Good reflex save, but bad will and fortitude save. Very weird. Normally it's the will save that's good, but for some reason it's fortitude for these guys. Very strange. They also get skills, 2+ int, decent enough skill list. Yeah, for the most part, they're pretty caster-like, and they do get full caster progression. That's another thing that they're going to get. So their arcane caster, whatever they went in, will progress fully. So that works. All right, so they're also going to get wild magic at first level. Basically, wild magic is an interesting one. It's going to make it so that their arcane caster level is 3 lower than what it normally would be, which sounds bad, but they also get to add, every time they cast a spell, 1d6 to their caster level, which the average for that is 3.5. So, it's going to be a net positive of +5, or not +5, plus 0.5. So that's decent. Worst case scenario, you're down 2 levels. Best case scenario, you are up, 2, no, not 2. Let's see, 6. You're up 3 levels. So that's not bad. You're either down, you can be down 2, up 3, anywhere in between. It is what it is. It can be potent for overcoming spell resistance. One downside is spell range. The spell may or may not reach as far as you want, due to the fact that maybe you're casting a short or medium range spell, or you're trying to cast a long range spell on like a big giant battlefield or something. The spell might fall short of where you were hoping to hit. That could be unfortunate. I don't see that coming up too often. But the other various meta magic effects are interesting. The fact that you may or may not, you may be doing more dice or less dice of damage. because all effects matter, including spell resistance. So your ability to overcome spell resistance will matter for this too. But so will literally every other numeric effect. How much damage it deals, the range, all of that. So, yeah, that's an interesting one. Let's see, you get Random Deflector. Random Deflector is an interesting one. Basically, as an immediate action, you can say that you can use it, and it'll make it so that any ranged attacks of really any kind that target you they have to target you though. Until the start of your turn, I think it's the start, maybe it's the end. It's basically, we'll tell your turn either way. What they'll do is they will, instead of targeting you, they will target someone random within 20 feet of you. And you'll roll, and it can be you still, so you might still get hit, but basically you use everyone within 20 feet of you as shields, including your allies. So anytime you get targeted with something, instead it will target someone random within 20 feet of you, friend, foe, yourself, whatever, any target. So this can be, can be constructs. If it's something that can target, inanimate objects like walls and stuff, then I guess that would be valid as well. Yeah, it's certainly an interesting one. I would say that what counts as a target depends on the spell and what that spell targets. So any creature or anything that fits the whatever is target. So if like the spell targets creatures, then creatures. If the spell targets objects, then objects. Probably. Hard to say. Anyways, then you get Student of Chaos at 3rd level. This one's interesting. This one will make it so that anytime you use a magic item, you will be able to that has random effects every time you use it. You will be able to roll twice and take the better result. This can be really interesting. Works with like Rods of Wonders, Bags of Tricks, various things like that. Very nice. One thing that this can be done with a little bit of cheese is potentially, if you happen to get your hands on a deck of many things, it's quite possible that would also be affected, which makes the deck of many things so much better. Instead of a 50% chance of something good and 50% chance of something bad, it jumps to 75% chance of something good and 25% chance of something bad. And also in that 25%, it's less likely that it, even if you draw 2 bad things, one of them maybe isn't terrible. So it actually makes this so good. If your DM allows that cheese. Or also getting a deck of many things is something that the players will never have access to unless the DM gives them access to. There's no way to just buy a deck of many things or just find one, or to make one. Like, it's an artifact. It's a fairly powerful artifact. Either the DM gives it to you or he doesn't. Let's see, you get Chaotic Mind at 6th level. This will just make you immune to confusion and insanity spells and effects. So not even just the spells, but anything that has that same kind of effect. That's kind of cool. Apparently it works as non-detection spell. You get Reckless Dwemer at 9th level. This one's not exactly good, but it's funny. This will make it so that you can trade a spell slot of 1st level or higher for a Rod of Wonder effect. Yeah, you can just say, hey, instead of this 1st level spell slot, I'm just going to get rid of that and use a Rod of Wonder effect. So you don't even need a Rod of Wonder. You just give up spell slots to basically use a Rod of Wonder. We'll use the effects of one. So, I mean, Rod of Wonder is not exactly great, but hey, if you want to have some fun and just burn some 1st level spell slots for kicks, it's actually quite useful. It's a very fun ability. It's hardly the most powerful thing they get. No, the next thing I'm going to mention is, but it's fun. It's definitely a fun one. Finally, at 10th level, they get Wild Strike. Now, this is the powerful one. Once a day, they can target an enemy within 60 feet of them, and spell resistance applies, but there is no save. So they just designate somebody, and if they don't have spell resistance, it just works. If they do have spell resistance, you have to make a caster level check to see if it does, which, your whole wild magic would apply for that. But yeah, what it'll do is for, what is it, 2d6 rounds? Yeah, 2d6 rounds. If they get hit by it, anytime they try and cast a spell or use a spell-like ability, there's a 50% chance that instead of that, it'll be a Rod of Wonder effect. And it'll still use up that spell or spell-like ability. But instead of it working normally, it'll just be a Rod of Wonder effect, which is not great. That's a real major handicap that you're applying on, that you're putting on them. Now, this would, of course, only work on things with spells and spell-like abilities, because if you're not using them, then it does nothing. It just makes your spells and spell-like abilities not work. But spells and spell-like abilities are very powerful, so this will very much handicap a lot of the more powerful opponents you'll come up against, including other NPC casters. A lot of the more powerful monsters have some good spell-like abilities. The really powerful ones have spells. So yeah, this will not work great on weaker enemies, but this will work really good on a lot of the stronger enemies. So yeah, Wild Strike, quite good. But that's all that they get. So how good are they? Well, pretty good in all reality. Wild magic has its downsides, but it also has its upsides, so that's hard to say where that fits. In terms of range, that's a bit of an issue, but the rest of it, less so. It's honestly a net positive, I'd say. Random Deflector can certainly be interesting. Gives you, yourself a bonus. It works a lot better if you're surrounded by enemies than if you're, surrounded by your friends, because if you're surrounded by friends, well, they might take the hit for you. Although I guess you could use summoning magic to make your summons potential targets. So that could work pretty good too. Student of Chaos, very nice, especially good cheese with Deck of Many Things. If your DM is going to allow that. This is about the only way to cheese the Deck of Many Things that I know of, but it's really good. Chaotic Mind is meh. Makes you immune to a couple of very specific things. Reckless Dwemer's just funny. And Wild Strike's really potent. That one is the one that you really want to go for. If you're going to go for this class, you really should go all 10 levels, because not Reckless Dwemer, Wild Strike is quite nice. It can really cripple some of the most potent enemies in the game, and really all you need to make is spell resistance. So if you can do that, it's only once a day, but crippling one of your most potent enemies is a big thing. So yeah, definitely worth it. And Random Deflector can be quite nice too, making it so that ranged attacks will hit an ally or an enemy, or potentially even an enemy instead. So your enemy targets you with an attack, or maybe targets multiple enemies. Like this would work on something like Chain Lightning as well, or Eldritch Blast with Chain, or basically anything like that targets enemies. Even if it targets multiple, instead of the one that hits you might hit someone else instead. Quite nice. Very nice Random Deflector. That's really all I have to say about the Wild Mage. It's how you could use it in a build. Works great on sorcerers, works great on wizards, basically any arcane caster. Usually a full caster would be where you'd want to do this. Yeah, that's all I have to say about it. It could go on a lot of different builds. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I always love hearing from you. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like. Maybe subscribe to the channel for more D&D 3.5 content, because I do one of these on every single class, race, and prestige class in Dungeons & Dragons 3.5, so ring that notification bell so you never miss out on a video. Anyways, as always, I'm Mitch. I'll be seeing you